this is the kit for the Defy Foundation, Disabled Artist Foundation, and this is my first big kit going out. These are ink pens. These are just some of what I've made, and these are the glitter pens. They're super easy, and most of us should have what we need. I'm going to go through the kit real quick. You get a piece of ribbon, and they're all different. You get some cool fibers, a little container of glitter. Again, those are all different. 3 ink pens, some googly eyes in 2 sizes plus 1 larger one, and 3 pieces of adhesive. We are going to start with the glitter pen because it is definitely the one that needs a little more work. It's the messiest. We're going to get her done. And so what I'm going to do with this is I am going to take my ink pen. Now, these strips that come in there, you may have one that has writing on the back. If you do, make sure you do not use it for glitter because it's a tiny bit short, and to have enough I had to use them. And so if you do it with the glitter, you're going to have a little bit of adhesive, a little bit of the pen with no adhesive. On the fibers, it's never going to show. So because I used all I had, I am going to use these strips. And this is like the red line tape. I'm going to just put it on here. This is how you would do the other, except you've got the long piece that's the right size. And then I'm going to peel this off. And this is going to be kind of awkward, and it's probably going to be a bit bumpy until I get started. Because it's not how it's supposed to work. But you'll get the gist of it. And we're just going to put our adhesive on. And I'll just peel all this off. Having a little sticky on my fingers. Won't be the first time today. You put your adhesive on, and this really isn't the best way to do it. So we're going to stop, and we're going to use the regular stuff, and I'm going to dig until I find another piece to replace it. So, kind of go back to the start again. We're going to take this, and I'm going to lay this down. And I peeled off the backing, and I'm going to line up my ink pen right to it. These are cut to go pretty much to this end, and then just to where your barrel changes its shape right there. And I'm going to put it on there and roll it around. It has a tiny bit of overlap, so I am going to lift one side up so that the other side can get adhered to it, and then I'm going to put them both down. And then I'm just going to rub it like this and make sure it's good and on pressure. So now we're going to take our glitter, and this is a little bit of a tinsel glitter, and I'm just going to put it in a little pile, and that's probably more than enough to do the whole pen. Okay, I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to put the pen in it, and then kind of roll it until it's covered. Ooh, this is pretty. And I'm going to push down and kind of like embed it into that glitter. I'm going to go over the trash can and wipe my hands. And then I'm going to take this and tap it and kind of, run your hands along it and get the loose glitter. It might take weeks to get rid of all the glitter. Now, when you put this adhesive on here, the pen caps do not come back on. They do not fit. But you have a very pretty pen that everybody will say, "Where did you get that?" There is, you could put a jewel on the end of this, You could put whatever it is that, if you want to put some more decoration on it, you're more than welcome. But this is one of the pins that the kit will make. Okay? So I'm going to see if I can put this over to the side without getting it all over, and I'll pour it back into the cup in a moment when I turn the camera off. So that's the glitter pins. I guess we're just going to use this kit. I'm sure I can find enough sticky somewhere. Okay, so we're going to do my favorite. Oh wait, they're all my favorite. So I'm going to grab another pin, and going to do the same thing. I'm going to peel that off all the way. This is kind of a multi-hand thing. And I'm going to put my adhesive on the pin. Again, it goes from the bottom where the pin starts to get smaller and the top. And I'm going to roll it until it almost meets. Then I'm going to flip this one up just a little bit so I can get this one down on it. They will overlap slightly, but you don't want them creating a pucker there, and that's the best way. So I'm going to, rub it down, make sure it's good. Okay, so this one I'm going to use the ribbon. And a lot of times you can see it's very, very sticky. I'll take this part to hold it and work with it. And I'm going to take this ribbon, and you may want to trim it to an angle. I'm going to lay it up there, get it started, and then I'm just going to spiral down. I'm not going to be able to go at an angle. I'm going to have to do this to get it even, and then slowly work it down after you've crossed over and met itself coming. Then you're going to have to squeeze it down and start working it down at an angle so that you can spiral it along the pin. And once, for some reason, it's easier for me to spin with my right hand and guide with my left. I feel really awkward doing it the other way. And if your ribbon has a pattern, you might want to just, take a little extra time to make sure that your pattern gets to show up. I'm going to pull that off now. And just keep going until I have all the adhesive covered. And then I'm going to trim it, making sure everything is stuck down and there's no adhesive showing through. Now you may want to, I've got my hot glue gun on. I don't hardly ever use it, but I was using it earlier. So you may want to use just a tiny dab of glue. I would probably not use hot glue, but it's here, so we're going to use it. And then just make sure that's down and check up here and make sure. So now you've got a pretty pin that's really nice and decorative, but we're going to make that pin a happy camper. Or we're going to make it a monster. We're going to take some fibers, and as long as it took me to put that all on the cord, we are not going to use that ribbon and fibers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I think I'm going to use both of these because, just because I can. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take 3 fingers, and I'm going to wrap it around and kind of put a little space in my fingers. Wrap it around as much as you want. I'm going to call that how much I want. I'm going to take this end. No, I'm not. I'm just going to take another piece of fiber and cut it off and tie this little bunch together. And I'm not trying to be perfect by no means whatsoever, because we're making our little happy camper monster, whatever you want to call him. I think he looks like a monster. Then I'm going to take this and spread it out so it's kind of a mess. It's still tied together, but you just want it to be kind of funky. And then we're going to put some glue on here. Now this is a good time for the hot glue. And I'm just going to push this on there. I just did it on the back for now. I'm going to put a little bit of glue up here. And really any glue will work, but the hot glue is instant satisfaction. So that in itself is kind of fun. So now we have this crazy haired pin. I'm going to give it a little spin and get it to fluff out and be really wild. And then on mine that I made, I put one googly eye on it. So it is a googly eyed monster. Now in the kit, you can turn all your pins into monsters if you want, because you have enough for the 3. But I wanted you to have the choice of putting one eye on it and having yourself a one-eyed monster. Or, I'm going to put this under here so you can see his hair better. Or you could put 2 eyes, or one medium eye, or 2 of the tiny eyes. And these are really hard to work with until you get them glued down. So I am not putting them on permanently, but you get the idea. But they just keep wiggling around. I guess that's why they're called googly eyes, but you can kind of get the idea with just the one eye. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see that a little better. Well, I zoomed in, but I wasn't in the right spot. Yeah, the little eye definitely needs to have both of them. Maybe not, up and down, but yeah, so you have your choice of small, medium, and large. And of course, the large, there's just one. So he can be a one-eyed, brown, blue-haired, purple people eater. I personally like the big eye. I think that's more fun. It's more different. And of course, I like the different. So that's our monster. And if you don't want to do a monster, put a flower on there. There's so many other options. I want to make the kits easy and accessible and have what you need. So that's why we're doing the monster. Okay. We have one more pin, and this one is really kind of fun. It's really pretty fast. And I'm going to line this all up again. Now, if you want to be able to put your pin cap on it when you're done, cut your sticky a little bit shorter, and it will work. So again, I just roll it right up to where they meet and lift that other side up just a little bit so that they can overlap. And then close it back up and just kind of firm it down. Now this one, I find that I definitely want to pull this down and start it like this. Let me come back out a little bit. And that way I can hold it kind of like a peeled banana. So I'm going to get my yarns ready. And I have, part of the reason there's so many extra yarns in the kit is because I think that you should have 2. One yarn like this is not going to fill it very well. So I think you need to. And, you know, if you were doing this one, if you can tell that, it's very, very thin. I mean, it's thread thin almost. So I'm going to do 2 different threads or fibers as soon as I can get it pulled apart. And if you're using something like this one that has the great big danglies, you do have to pay more attention and make sure they don't get stuck down in the adhesive. So for ease today, I'm just going to use this other one and this blue one. So mostly because I don't want to sit and pick. So I'm just going to start them, and I'm going to leave it up there. And if it's not all the way on there, that's okay, because coming down, it'll get caught, and we can trim this all off later. So you get it to adhere to your sticky, and then start spiraling around. Again, you might need to hold it with one hand and start it and then move to the other. And you try to put your fibers so they're kind of like no gaps between them, because it will be sticky if you do. And just roll them up. I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to put it around this way so I'm pinching it correctly, and I have my fingers not in the glue. So if you can keep them parallel to each other, you won't have any sticky coming through. And like I said, if you have long fiberies, you definitely want to help pick them out as you go along, because they're going to stick all the way right away where they touch. And this one does take a little longer, because you got to pay attention to where you put it, kind of like the ribbon one. And because I have a gray pen and that blue is really not much difference in color of the pen, it is kind of hard to see if that's a space or a piece of fiber. I'm getting better at this, slowly. Except every time I zoom in, I have to get further from my body. Eventually, I'll figure this all out. Maybe when I run out of craft supplies, I'll have it all figured out by then. Isn't that the laws of nature? So you just continue adding it until it's all covered, which after you get started and get past the fiddly stage, it's really pretty easy. And you should have enough fiber to do several choices. I'm pretty good at making sure you have choices in your kits. Okay, we're going to cut that off. I'm going to probably cut it a little long. Get the string out of my way. And then I'm going to do the same thing as I was doing with the paper. I'm going to roll it out. And see, it started coming off down here. Well, no, it didn't. We left it long. So just trim that down as far as you need to. Make sure it's all on the adhesive. And then fluff it. Trim your other end. And the one thread I used was actually 2 already. It's 2 pieces of thread or fiber that are connected together. So that's what gave it the all the extra little pieces. So there is your fuzzy pin. So it's not only fuzzy, it's striped, and it's very colorful, and it's a pin that you know that's yours. Nobody can say it's not yours, and still your pins. So again, you get the stuff to do a monster pin with crazy hair, and a glitter pin, and just a fuzzy pin. But they can all be mixed up however it is you may want to do it. But that is the kit, and I believe this one is going to be going out in May. So enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and I will close for now and get on to my next video. Thanks for watching.